Okay, what I'm going to do today is go over what we went over in class today. So the first thing I'm going to do is, under the exploration, it says using your protractor, find each measure and answer questions number 3 and 4. So first thing I told you to do today in class was to take and extend this chord AB out so that it'd be easier to read on your protractor. And what we're going to do is we have to turn our protractor sideways so that when I line it up, I want where your hole would be on yours in class, where this is, that's 0, where the 90 lines up. And that's where you're going to put on the vertex. And remember, the vertex is going to be the point that's mentioned in the center or in the middle of our angle name. So the vertex for both of these is B. Okay, we could say angle B, but since I don't know if I'm talking about this angle or this angle over here, I'm going to use the 3 letters. And if you look at angle ABE, okay, which is this angle right here, you can tell that that angle is less than 90, so we want a small angle. And then this angle ABD, which is this angle over here, is definitely greater than 90, so it's an obtuse angle. So we want to get numbers that are larger than 90 degrees. So when I bring over my protractor and I lined it up so that it's sitting on line DE, it's kind of close right here because if you notice, there's 40. Oops, move my protractor, sorry about that. Okay, here's 40 and there's 50, and it's actually kind of looks like it's close to 45, but it's, in actuality it's 44 degrees. And if I come this direction, it's kind of between 130 and 140, and it should be 136. Okay, all right, so now I'm going to take that off so we can see. So I know that this angle right here is 44 degrees, and this angle right here is 136. Now, we learned last semester that when I have two angles that form a straight line, so that's 44 and this is 136, that they add up to 180 degrees. Okay, so we call those a linear pair. And we know that a linear pair is supplementary. Okay, which means that they add up to 180 degrees. Okay. Now, it's number 3 says, how is the measure of angle ABE, which is 44 degrees, related to the measure of arc AB? And over here it says that the measure of arc AB is 88 degrees. So this is 88 degrees. Now, if you notice, the comparison between this and this is that if I take 88 and I divide it by 2, I get 44. So that means that the angle was half of this arc. Okay. All right, now on number 4, what is the measure of arc AFB? Well, AFB means I start at point A, I go around the circle, past point F, all the way around to point B. So that's a majority of it, so we know this is a major arc. Okay, and we learned about that when we first started these. And so since the whole arc is 360, the whole circle is 360, I subtract 88 from that, and that's going to give me 272 degrees, and that is what my arc AFB is equal to. Because this part of the circle plus this little part down here, which is 88, has to add up to 360 degrees for the whole circle. So then it wants to know how this angle, which was 136, relates to this arc, which we just found to be 272. Well, if I take 272 and I divide it in half, I'm going to get 136. So the relationship there is, again, the angle is half of the arc. So they ask us to write a rule. It says write a rule. Okay, so the rule would be sorry about that. Can't spell. Okay, now we notice that the vertex of that angle is on the circle. Okay, so if the vertex is on the circle, we know two things. We know that the measure of the angle is 1/2 of the measure of the arc. Okay, the arc divided by 2. And we know that the measure of the arc is going to be 2 times the measure of the angle. So to get the angle, we divide the arc by 2. To get the arc, we multiply the angle by 2. Okay? We also know that if I'm given 2 angles that form a straight line, they must add up to that 180 degrees. So the measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 2 is equal to 180 degrees. Okay? Alright. Now, it tells us in this theorem that if a tangent, and remember a tangent is a line which that would be where D and E is, okay? Remember, a tangent is a line that intersects the circle at exactly one point, which would be point B. So that means that line DE, remember the arrows on both ends, is a tangent. A tangent is a line that intersects the circle at exactly one point. And it says, and a chord, okay? Now remember that a chord is a line segment whose endpoints are on the circle, and in this case, it is from A to B. Sorry. So from point A, oops, sorry about that. So from point A to point B is a line segment, which means that it is a chord. Okay? So a chord is endpoints are on the circle. Now, when you draw a line through the chord, then that line, which now it becomes line AB, is a secant. A secant is a line that intersects the circle at 2 points. Okay, so it says if you have a tangent and a chord, or a tangent and a secant that intersects at a point on the circle, okay, so the vertex must be on the circle, then the angle is 1/2 the arc, which is what we just said. So in the diagram, line DE is tangent to circle O, and remember we name a circle by its center point. Then the measure of angle ABE, which is this angle, is 1/2 the measure of arc AB, and the measure of angle ABD, which is this angle over here, is 1/2 of arc AFB. So in exercise 1, when it asks to find the measure of angle FGH, G is my vertex for that angle. And if you notice, G is on the circle, okay? And I said that if it's on the circle, then the angle is equal to half of its arc, or the measure of the arc divided by 2. So that means it's going to be, since it's angle FGH, that's this angle right here, we're going to be talking about this part of the circle, which is HG. So therefore, it is the measure of arc HG divided by 2. So it's 90 degrees divided by 2, which is 45 degrees. Okay? Alright, now question number 2, they made a mistake because they only used 2 letters and we can't name an angle with 2 letters. So therefore we need to change it to the arc. So we're talking about from point I to point J in the shortest route possible. Okay? So we're talking about this angle compared to this arc. And my angle measure is 75 degrees. And we said that the measure of the arc is equal to 2 times the measure of the angle. So for that one, it's going to be 2 times the measure of angle I, J, K. Which, of course, is vertexes on the circle. Okay, because J is on the circle. So I'm going to have 2 times 75 degrees, which is 150 degrees, and that's your answer. Okay? Alright, exercise 3. We have 2x, we have x, we have z degrees. Z degrees would be this portion of the circle. And then we have y degrees, which is this portion of the circle. And then we have this line made up of angle 2x and angle x. Alright, now if I write it like this, and I have x here and 2x here, it makes a semicircle or a straight line, which we call a linear pair. And we said that a linear pair is supplementary. So therefore, x plus 2x has to equal 180 degrees. Combine like terms, I get 3x equals 180 degrees. Divide by 3, I'm going to get x equals 60 degrees. So this angle right here is 60 degrees. Now, we can get this angle because this angle is 2x, and we now know x is 60, so 2 times 60 means that angle is 120 degrees. So that's 120 degrees. Now we can get z and y. Since z is the arc inside of angle x, then that means z is equal to 2 times the measure of this angle. So it's going to be 2 times 60 degrees, which is 120 degrees. Then, since I know the whole circle is 360, to find the measure of angle y, arc y, then it's going to be 2 times, not the way I'm doing it. It's going to be 360 for the whole circle minus 120, which is for the part over here, because z is 120 degrees. So we're going to get 240 degrees, which is this part over here. Also, you'll notice that if I took 120 degrees and I multiplied it by 2, I also get 240 degrees, meaning that the arc is equal to 2 times the angle. Okay? Alright. That is the end of what we did today. Now, 5th period, I know that we went ahead and looked at exploration 2, but we'll talk about more of that tomorrow. If you were not here for 2nd period and 5th period, you might want to look at this. I'm going to give you this worksheet tomorrow, but they exit ticket they worked on notebook paper. And 1st and 3rd period, it was these 2 problems. Thank you.